My name is Paul Sanchez, and I'm born and raised in New York City. I represent the possibility of global transformation for health, wellness, prosperity, and the true potential of human being. It was a profound need. I grew up with a lack of possibility and a lot of restriction and mental and emotional and physical health issues for most of my life. And so it led me down a path of searching for answers, for solutions to problems that seemed insurmountable. And over time, those searches turned out to be extremely fruitful. So the vision I have is a world where people know themselves, love and respect themselves. And from this place, they can honor, cherish, and love one another. Inside of this vision, I want people to claim their power. Most of us have no idea just how powerful we are, and this power is innate, yet in most of us lies dormant, unrealized, or unexpressed. And so, to help with that awareness and spreading that knowledge, I'm writing a book, and inside of this book, it's going to be sort of guide or instruction on how we can all claim that inner power. So if we don't have balance in our own bodies, we cannot hope to experience balance in our relationships, in our professions, in our community, and in the world at large. I grew up in New York City, born and raised, and as much as that afforded me in terms of possibilities and opportunities, it was also extremely challenging. Living in a crowded city with a lot of noise and chaos and a lot of competition. Not a lot of resources. There were times when we didn't have food on the table, and there were times where we did, but there was a lot of struggle, and inside of that, there was a lot of suffering that I experienced. When I was 7 years old, it was the first time that I had suicidal thoughts and wished to take my own life, and that continued until my adolescent years when I was 14 and ready to do it. I had my first suicide attempt at that time. And so, in that sense of limitation, I created and experienced much disease or imbalance within my body, mind, and spirit. And so, through this process of learning about spirit and what that is, and spirit might sound like a buzzword. You could call it God, you could call it the universe. I think the closest word that can describe it is love. That idea of love and acceptance and compassion. And through the practice of having more of that for myself, accepting myself and my flaws and my limitations, while also working to be the fullest version of myself, has afforded me the opportunities to discover potential solutions, to heal longstanding issues. So, for example, I attribute all of that illness in a large part to the sugar addiction that I had from the age of 2, which started with soda and sweet cereals and all these things. And from that place, it became an emotional crutch. Eating to make myself feel better, but it was quite definitely a sense of instant gratification. Feel better in the moment, but then feel much worse later. And I'm almost certain that that's why I was depressed at such a young age, and why I had the mental emotional issues, in addition to the challenges my environment presented. Through yoga, through meditation, through taking care of myself and loving myself, not in an egotistical or airy fairy sort of way, but in a practical sense, every day, giving my body what it needs, nourishing my soul, taking care of my mind. All of these things have been the access to this profound transformation that continues on a daily basis. Conversation, for people to be in this dialogue and actually legitimately question what is the situation and how does it work. For people to even begin to fathom that cancer can be cured is almost heresy in our day and age. We've been told for so long that that's the opposite. And now most people don't even believe when you tell them, yes, you can cure cancer. So the greatest difference that I could see being made is for people to actually start having these conversations and to educate themselves and research this topic. So, for example, I invite people to learn more about the 1931 Nobel Prize winner Otto Warburg, proving that cancer cannot survive in a high alkaline, high oxygen environment, but thrives in a low oxygen, acidic environment. I invite people to also look into the miraculous benefits of an alkaline diet and the implications it has for our health overall. And how the premise is that all disease is simply a function of a an imbalance between the acids and bases in the blood. And there's scientific evidence to prove that, but most people simply don't believe it's possible. People can start to shift their diets a little bit. Most people eat for taste alone and not really for nutrition. They also often eat, and myself, I speak from years of experience, emotionally. Eating to feel better about some issue that's going on in their lives, as a sort of coping mechanism to deal with that. And I invite people to consider that that is a path to problems in the terms of the physical systems in the body, and to eat mindfully, to not take food for granted as something other than it's intended to be. It's intended to fuel our physical vessel and the spirit so that we can fulfill on our heart's longings while we're here, not escape from those longings. My definition of peace is where the mind and the body are still and working in harmony, in balance. And from this, wholeness from the spirit naturally shines through and can allow for peace in our lives externally as well. Eat lots of veggies with good healthy fats like avocados, coconut oil. It will take your body much further than most other foods out there. Practice yoga and meditation for your own peace. And also, if you want peace in the world, it's very, very powerful ancient wisdom in those practices. Question the system and question authority. Ask yourself, does this message offer service to others or service to the self? And most importantly, love yourself, not with conceit or ego, but with a healthy sense of self respect, self acceptance, being patient with yourself to accept your flaws while also continually being humble to grow and develop yourself into the best version of yourself you can possibly be. I'd love to tell people about my upcoming book. It's called Cannabis, Consciousness, and the Christ: Cancer Cures and True Love Within. It's intended to be a dialogue around this potential of human being and how we can access this potential by basically removing all of the limiting beliefs we have about ourselves and humanity and creating possibilities for our potential. And so it's going to cover a wide variety of topics, but some of them are mentioned in the title. And those being some of the most powerful points that I want to get across, that there are miraculous healing opportunities and resources available to us that we can use to transform our own health and the health of the planet. And there's also a Kickstarter campaign. It would be excellent if people would support and interested in donating and helping to get this message out to the world.